Hey everyone, welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD, and today we are reviewing and analyzing chapter 316 of My Hero Academia, the next. So, before we get into the review, I just want to say something real quick. Please don't take this personally, don't be offended, but the last several chapters have of My Hero have been kind of weird for me. I don't want to say underwhelming. It's just um I just feel like the manga has taken a drastic shift in just I don't know, just how it's being written, the pacing, what's going on. I hate being one of those people that, when a series doesn't go the way I like or do the things I want it to do, I don't like it, or I kind of, I dismiss, or I'm like, "Oh, it's trash now." I don't want to say it's trash now just because it's not going upon, going based upon what I envisioned, what I wanted to happen, what I first saw. But I do have to admit things are getting a little wonky. Things are getting a little bit weird. I really do miss the involvement of Class 1A, and I'm not dumb. I understand that they will be involved already, but this is kind of like, I don't know. This is kind of feels worse than like when the Straw Hats all got separated, right? Like it's weird. Like, yeah, we want the Straw Hats all together, but like, I don't know. I'm okay with them individually holding storylines and doing stuff, but like something about what's been happening has been weird to me. The pacing's been weird to me, and then like kind of like the sprint to the end has been weird to me. We've been getting like flash forwards without context, and just I don't know. It's been bothering me. So is it just me? Please let me know. Is it just me? This show isn't just me giving like reviews and analyses. The way I see this channel is it's a conversation. I love anime, and I love talking about anime and manga with any and everyone that will hear me out. And so this is just kind of a online method of, creating friends in a fan base that like I can do what I love to do all the time, and I can have, a forum of people I can communicate with and talk to. So yeah, don't feel like I'm attacking. If you love My Hero Academia, you're like, what the fuck? Like, it's still good. Or hey, man, you don't have to review it if you don't want to. Like, I still want to review it. I like to finish what I set out and what I start. But like, is it just me? Is this a community thing? But yeah, let me know. But without further ado, let's get into it. Chapter 316, My Hero Academia. If this is your first time being here, or even if you've been here before but haven't already, please like and subscribe. Means the world to me. Would help me the fuck out. So please do that for your boy. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it.
頑張れそう頑張れ諦めないで口笛吹きさ歩き出そうよ Going now.
All right, so we start off where we left off last time with Hawks and Endeavor showing up. And just like heroes, they show up after they're needed. All right, I know I shouldn't be giving them a hard time, but it is quite convenient. You can't really blame Hawks. He hasn't really fully recovered his powers, and Endeavor even specifically states that he's not as effective or efficient in the rain, which I think is a really funny parallel and callback to the fact that I believe there was a moment when Bakugo was training under Endeavor, and he was late to the scene of some kind of emergency or crime, and he tells him he can't operate, he can't function well in the cold because, as you guys know, Bakugo's quirk operates using his sweat glands. Basically, his body excretes sweats, nitroglycerin, which is the key component in TNT explosives. So, if it's cold, his sweat pores dilate, they're smaller, it's harder for him to sweat. Essentially, it's harder for him to, create nitroglycerin, create explosions, right? And I think it's ironic how back then, Endeavor was like, no excuses in the hero world, but here he is, late as fuck, saying, "Hey, I'm not efficient in the rain." So that's quite funny. So essentially, the Roy Mustang of the My Hero universe. Except I'm sure every quirk has their weakness and strengths and shit like that. But I just thought that was really funny. Also, something I noticed is throughout this entire chapter, like Endeavor's just yelling and like talking to Deku, and like Deku never really seems to like give him a real response. I mean, maybe he is, and it's off panel, but like every single time he asks Deku a question, like the first time he shows up, he was like, I think he shows up with what does he say? Hold on, give me like 2 seconds. Oh yeah, he's like, what's the situation like? Is there any enemies besides Lady Nagant? And like Deku just kind of looks at him, so that was really interesting. Then we see Hawks, who originally went to go save Nagant. We kind of assumed that he was gonna fly with her, but then we see that he's not healed, and so he just has these little adorable baby wings trying to like hold her up, like flap, 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 and it's not working at all as it shouldn't. And so, Deku immediately uses his black whip to hold them. But I had severe PTSD flashbacks to like Spider-Man saving Gwen Stacy, snapping her neck doing that. Luckily, that wasn't the case here, but I was really, really curious. I was like, oh no, but they that's not the direction they went in. So, you know, whole time Lady Nagant's just like, what's going on? She finds out that like Hawks is her successor. I was under the impression, I was reading a lot of reviews, I was under the impression that like she may have trained him, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It doesn't seem like she really knows him, and she's like, I have a successor. So I think that was really interesting, because the way Hawks originally talked about her was like, it made it seem like it was his mentor or whatever. And maybe it was, because if you guys don't remember, Hawk's childhood, his past, he grew up, idolizing heroes, predominantly Endeavor. I also think it's really cool that he's been working side to side with Endeavor, like his childhood hero, and he's kind of keeping cool about it, not like really fangirling. I thought that was kind of funny. Like if he could ever go up to Endeavor, like, if only you knew. But maybe he's been disillusioned, maybe he grew up. Who knows? Maybe it's like, in the NBA when you like idolize a player, but then now you have to play with or against them, and so you can't be in that fanboy mode. But she's just wondering literally how can you guys have that spark in your eyes? How can you guys still be heroic, especially you, Hawks? Like at first I think she thought like Deku was naive or whatever, but now she's like, wait, you're my successor? You work for the Public Safety Committee? So you probably have had to do the things I've had to do. So how are you okay with it? How are you okay living in this hero life? To which he only says, I'm an optimist. So at first, without context, you're kind of like, what the fuck? That's bullshit. Like, that's a weak excuse. I don't like that. That's weak writing. But, once again, you have to go back to the flashback of his past, and you have to realize Hawks grew up in a severely abusive home. His father was a criminal. His mom was kind of useless, kind of, not the best mom, kind of let things happen to him, kind of, was like, what good are you? And, he thought he was going to live his life in shit, like in squalor. Like he thought like that was all he would ever have, until one day Endeavor arrested his parents, and then the Public Safety Committee was like, hey, we have interest in your powers. Would you be interested in joining us? His life changed that day. And I think that there's a level of maturity and understanding, especially the way he grew up, where he understands that, I don't think necessarily what the Public Safety Committee is doing is bad. Like, there are really bad people out there. There are people like my father that abuse their families and commit crimes. And, maybe it's okay if they die. Maybe it's okay if they get killed. Maybe it's okay if they get got. And so, like, as sad and as unfortunate as it is, I just think that's just goes to show how people's perceptions of life and their experiences of what they go through help shape and define them, and their morality and ethics of what's right and what's wrong and what's acceptable, what's permissible and whatnot. And so, I don't know how many people Hawks has killed. I don't know if Hawks has killed anyone. I think like the first time we ever see him kill anyone was with, Twice, and he deemed it necessary. So maybe there's just this aspect to superheroism that says, hey, sometimes you have to kill villains. There's a lot of heroes in both DC and Marvel and all the other mainstreams that genuinely feel that way. So that was something interesting to notate, to document. I wonder how much we'll explore that throughout the series. But yeah, I think it's funny how every single time Endeavor shows up, he literally is like yelling. Like, I compared it to the other characters in the panels, Hawks, and like I think the Best Genius show up too. everyone talking is talking like a normal tone and just like Endeavor's I'm just like, yo, bro, chill out. And once again, Deku is once again not even responding or answering anything he's saying. So like that's really funny to me. But yeah, he's like, I have Chisaki is he like the only one? Is there blah 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 going on? And honestly, Chisaki was kind of a waste of space. His only role he played was to be like a morally ambiguous damsel in distress, where it's like, if this guy dies, nothing really, not the biggest deal in the world, but as a hero, I can't afford to let him die because it's my job to save people. It doesn't matter what they did, I'm gonna save them. If Deku didn't save him, it would make everything he said meaningless about Shigaraki, about how he plans to save him without killing him. Because once again, although One for All residents were like, you're gonna have to kill him as a test, and Deku passed, saying, no, I'm not gonna come and find a way. But I honestly don't see how he's going to find a way, which I'm gonna say something at the very end of the video. But like, yeah, so Deku is just super idealistic, super optimistic, but I don't know. There's this clear divide. There's this clear thing that the mangaka is showing us of, hey man, is it necessary? Are some people just too far gone? Are some people too dangerous to allow to live? So, but yeah, Chisaki, I don't know. He didn't really play that big a role. All he did, honestly, was, the damsel in distress thing, and now he's kind of aggravating Deku. You hear him crying about how like he's mad at Lady Nagant. You were supposed to keep your promise. I was supposed to meet the boss. I hope he forgives me. Blah blah blah. And Deku's over here like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? You want forgiveness from your mafia crime boss, from your yakuza crime boss? Do you remember Eri? Do you remember Eri-chan? Like, the girl whose life you ruined, who's the girl who like you let be experimented on and tortured pretty much and just used as a tool. You want forgiveness from this dude? What about her? You don't want forgiveness from her? And so that, I don't know, I really felt like that really hurt Deku. That really did something to him. That frustrated him. And I was also really kind of scared and nervous about there's a part where he's like, don't worry, I'll fulfill that promise. And so part of me was like, I thought the promise was when he was like, I want you to reunite me with my boss, was just code for, hey, kill me. That way I can join my boss in the afterlife. I said this in the other video, but I was confused because I thought his boss was simply like in a coma, unconscious. So maybe Deku just means, I'll like put you in a room with him, I'll let you see him or whatever. But like, if it's the other route, I definitely don't think it's the other route, because it just does not make sense for Deku to say something like that. But if it's the other route where like, I'll send you to fucking hell, like I'll be like, okay, Deku, okay, I see you. But that's outside of his character. But I don't know. The last few chapters, you've just seen kind of how done Deku is with everything going on right now, how kind of frustrated he is, how kind of annoyed he is. And like in that one last panel, it just kind of seems like the light in his eyes is kind of fading. And also, I think maybe that might be another reason. Maybe, like I said, maybe the reasons what the mangaka is doing are going over my head, but maybe that's why he separated him from Class 1A. Maybe Class 1A kept him grounded, kept him rooted, kept him childish. I don't want to say childish, but like, he didn't have to bear the burden. His friends were there, and like, they provided comedic relief, and they showed him what life was worth living for. I think if you kind of take the Batman approach to the thing and you brood and you stay by yourself, you have a tendency to, you become nihilistic and you become darker because all you're seeing is all the bad. And I think it's going to get to him. I think that there's going to be I think it's going to get to Deku, man. I think it's going to eat up at him and eat up at him and eat up at him. He's not allowing himself joy. Like All Might has been saying, he's working himself too hard. He's dived into his work. I don't think he's processing his feelings. And I do think that maybe there is a grand plan here, and that, there's going to be a payoff. So we'll see, but he's really getting fed up and starting to really lose that light in his eyes. Also, I'm just gonna say it, I think it was a total missed opportunity that this chapter Deku didn't confront All Might or any of the other heroes' presence about, you know, the things he learned from Lady Nagant that the Public Safety Committee are doing. Like, if you find out that, like, if you work for the government and then you find out the government's doing, like, this Tuskegee experiments and all this other fucked up shit, like, you know, I would want answers. I would want to know, hey, is this true? Are you guys really doing this? What are you planning on? Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't even say a fucking word to him. And also this part pissed me off. So she tells him, hey, you know, oh, by the way, what? No, I guess no one's gonna die. No one's gonna die. Like, I don't understand how she, like, point blank exploded, and it looked like a massive explosion. I showed it in the last video. It was a massive explosion, point blank. Like, it's kind of crazy how Deku is as okay as he is, but the fact that her, from where the explosion oriented, she's okay. I think it's kind of wild. Maybe it's just you know, because her quirk might allow her to make explosives, possibly. I don't know. You know, her hair makes bullets. I don't know if it can make grenades or something like that. Probably doesn't. But maybe it's one of those things where because maybe it's one of those things where because she uses a certain power, her body has to be able to handle the backlash of the power, so she has the durability to handle an explosion. I don't know, but it really does seem like Lady Nagant's gonna pull through and maybe towards the end of the series play an instrumental role in helping out and maybe be converted, because, you know, that's kind of what the story is like, about hope and faith and never giving up and shit like that. So after that, you know, she basically snitches, tells him, hey, in 2 months there's gonna be a meeting here, blah blah blah. And I'm gonna be real with you, I think that the raid on Habori, that's what it's called, was dumb from the jump, because it was perfectly clear that, like, all for one had some kind of idea or some way to tap in and understand that he was betrayed. I mean, you could kind of assume maybe it was just something left in there that if she does something, it'll explode. But I don't know. I would have just covered all my bases and been like, maybe there's a way he can use her to listen in. Maybe he put something in her that allows her to act as a bug. But I'm like, the fact that, like, he knows that you have her, that, you know, the self-destruct sequence is activated, probably means that he knows that she's going to give you information. So it's probably obvious as hell that they're going to plan for it. And my thing was, did they only show up there for the first time, you know, that month? You know, in the 2 months, was that their first time going there? Did they go, you know, maybe a month before, maybe immediately before, scout it out, set up recon, anything? It just seems super stupid for them to walk into an obvious trap. I don't know why he would after, you know, one of the people that's supposed to be at this meeting got captured. Obviously, you can assume that maybe, you know, they got their information taken from them. Or maybe, once again, you can just kind of assume maybe he thought that she got blown up and killed. Like, maybe that's what the heroes thought, but I don't know. I just thought that whole thing was done from the jump. Also, don't like that, like, it skipped forward. We didn't have any conversation. We didn't have anything like he didn't talk to All Might about the public safety thing, or just I just don't like how quickly things are progressing. So anyway, we get there, and All for One is there with a hologram, and basically he's monologuing, and I'm just like, bro, don't stay here for this monologue, or maybe take the hologram with you. Obviously they're not here, there's no point in being here. Also, is there no hero that has some kind of, like, X-ray quirk? I just feel like this raid was organized by an idiot. Like, I'm just like, whoever put this together is dumb. They weren't thinking. And that's part of, like, I don't know if it's the writing or if it's rushed, or maybe there's a reason, but, like, it's just certain things aren't rubbing me right with this. So yeah, but the coolest part of this chapter, though, is when kind of really paralleling All Might, where All for One points to Deku and is like, you're next. And I'm pretty sure he has a history. I think this is either the second or third time he's mocked All Might by repeating something he said, but kind of in, like, an inverted subversion fashion, right? So I thought that was really funny. I cracked up, and I almost could imagine, like, All for One in the corner being like, that's good. That's good. I like that. Keep that take. What take is that? Diabolical monologue number 21? Yeah, that's a keeper. Like, and I wonder what he means by you're next. Does it mean you're next to die? Because, you know, All Might, when he said, he's like, you're next, you're the next, you know, All Might, you're the next successor of One for All, you're the next, you know, great number one hero. But I think the way I think the way that All For One says it is like you are the next All Might, and I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna dispatch of you just like I did him, just like I dispatched of the rest of the predecessors. So yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, man, that's it. That's all for the review. I know it's relatively short. There's not a lot I want to talk about. The direction of the manga is going so crazily. It's not really quite predictable, except for like obviously like the final encounter with Shigaraki, the final encounter with All For One. I mean One For All. Sorry, All For One. I said it right that time, and I still corrected myself. Jesus Christ, I hate going back and forth between their names. I really wish. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, I wonder what's gonna happen next. Maybe he might say screw Shigaraki and maybe try to convince Deku to join his side, except we all know Deku's personality doesn't seem possible, but maybe there's something he can do, and we all know that One For All can't be forcibly taken or transferred. So I think that's very important. It has to be a choice thing, and I think that choice is going to play a heavy role somewhere in some kind of plot twist in the story. But yeah, that's all I have to really say. The last thing I want to talk about is I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the series, if somehow Deku makes it out of this, he quits being a hero and he goes towards a more noble profession. I think that with everything he's done, with how empathetic he is, how caring he is, how much pain he's seen in people's hearts, and how he's like, I heard what's the name crying out to me. I think he has a future as a superhero psychiatrist. Deadass. I'm not joking. Maybe in the beginning when it was like, this is the story of how I became the greatest hero. The reason he's the greatest hero is because he's one of the first heroes that decided, you know what? I don't want to just use my fists. I want to use my words. Why do you feel it's necessary to be a villain? Why do you want to hurt people? Do you feel that because of your expectations of society, did you have one bad day? So like, I don't know, jokes aside, I wouldn't be like, that just really seems like from what Deku's been doing, it really just seems like what he wants all the villains and even actually not even what Deku wants. Everyone in this series seems to need therapy, from Endeavor to Shoto to like Hawks to like everyone has had some really fucked up lives. And everyone needs some goddamn superhero therapy. But anyway, that's the end of my review. Hope you guys liked it. Please like, share, and subscribe. Mainly like for the algorithm so other people see it. And subscribe so that I can hit that 1,000 number. Right now, it's a daunting task. I can't imagine hitting it. But every single person that, hits that subscribe, you're changing my life. I know it seems simple to you. I know it seems annoying to hear me say it every video, but you doing a simple thing like hitting that subscribe button might possibly change my life and help me out. So I would appreciate it. Anyway, take care. Have a great day. This is your boy, OD, Otaku Talk. We out of here. Peace.